Right now, somewhere in the world, a foal has just been born. Within an hour, it's standing. Within a day, it's running to keep up with its mother. Somewhere else, a human baby has just been born too. It can't hold up its own head. It can't see clearly more than 30 centimeters in front of its face. It will take a full year just to start walking. Think about that for a second. Humans are the most dominant species on this planet, and yet our babies are born more helpless than almost any other mammal alive. Why does this happen? Why would evolution, which supposedly perfects every species over millions of years, leave humans being born in a state that is, quite literally, incapable of surviving on its own? This isn't a design failure. It's one of the most brilliant and most brutal compromises in the history of human evolution. Imagine a woman, roughly 200,000 years ago, on a savanna in East Africa. She's heavily pregnant. Her belly is large, her steps are slow. Around her, the group is walking, searching for water.
Her body is caught between two forces pulling in opposite directions. On one side, the brain of the baby she's carrying keeps growing larger, far larger than the brains of other primate infants. On the other side, her hips need to stay narrow enough to let her walk upright, run, chase, and flee from predators. These two needs pull against each other, and the human body had to find a middle ground. Anthropologists call this the obstetric dilemma. The idea is simple. Walking upright on two legs requires a relatively narrow pelvis for efficient movement. But the human brain, which kept expanding throughout the evolution of Homo, needs a large skull to hold it. The solution wasn't to make women's hips dramatically wider. That would have cost them the ability to run, which back then was often the difference between life and death when a predator was closing in. The solution was something far more cunning. Give birth earlier, before the brain has finished developing. Compared to other primates, human babies are born in a state some scientists describe as evolutionarily premature. A newborn chimpanzee arrives with a brain already at about 40% of its adult size. A human newborn arrives with a brain at only around 25% of its adult size. The remaining 75% of brain growth happens after birth, out in the open world, exposed to every danger it holds.
Some researchers call the first year of a human baby's life the fourth trimester, as if the pregnancy never really ended, just moved outside the womb. Because if pregnancy continued until the brain was as mature as it is in most other mammals, the baby's head would never fit through the birth canal at all. But here's where the story takes a surprising turn. This helplessness, a baby who can't do anything for itself for years, should have been an evolutionary disaster. A deer whose fawn can't walk within hours would almost certainly lose that form to a predator. But ancient humans found a solution no other species relied on quite the same way. They never raised children alone. Anthropologists call this pattern cooperative breeding. Among hunter-gatherer societies like the Hadza in Tanzania or the Agta in the Philippines, a baby isn't cared for by its mother alone. Grandmothers, aunts, older siblings, even group members with no blood relation at all take turns carrying, nursing, and watching over that helpless infant. So a human baby isn't born weak because evolution failed. It's born weak because evolution made a much bigger bet. Not on the strength of one individual infant, but on the strength of the community around it. The helplessness of human babies may be one of the very reasons humans became the most social species on the planet.
And that same pattern is still alive inside you right now, even if you've never noticed it. Why does almost every adult, not just parents, instinctively smile and soften their voice at the sight of a baby? This connects to what researchers call baby schema, the combination of big eyes, a round head, and chubby cheeks that triggers a caretaking instinct in anyone who sees it, not just the mother. A baby's body seems built to call for help from the entire group, not just one person. Why do modern societies still rely on support networks, grandparents watching grandchildren, neighbors helping out, childcare systems, even though in theory one nuclear family should be enough? Because evolutionarily, one nuclear family was never enough. For hundreds of thousands of years, raising a human child was a collective project, not a two-person job. So the next time you see a baby crying in the middle of the night, utterly unable to do anything, completely dependent on the people around it, remember that helplessness isn't a flaw. It's the oldest signature of what it means to be human, proof that long before we built cities, invented writing, or created technology, we had already learned the one thing that saved this species, that no one was ever meant to be raised alone. And maybe that's the strangest part of all. Humans became this powerful as a species precisely because every single one of us began life in the most powerless state imaginable.